All right, guys. Good evening. Welcome to class.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, Ola and Josephine. Welcome to class. All right, let's share and let's start. So share screen. Share screen. And then we'll have our machine running server installed. So the installation was smooth. There was no issue. Like I shared in the group, the only thing we needed to do to resolve the error that showed up last time was restart the system. We restarted and everything was smooth. All right, so you're already conversant with how this installation is done, right? Are we good to
Yes.
go? All right. If there are no questions, then let's go. So what we want to do is set up an enterprise network so that this will not just be talk. It will be about actually carrying out the implementation of the tools that we'll be discussing as part of IT security analyst. All right, so we'll come here to our system. What do we want to do actually? Let's go to the note. What we want to do is set up a domain. Set up a domain, and this is how to set up a domain. You know what a domain is? The person for whom we're actually revising this is not here yet. Okay, so he would catch up with this in the recording. All right, so to set up a domain, we come here and we'll set up this Windows Server system as our domain controller. So the first thing we want to do in setting this up as a domain controller is to, I'm sure you've already done that, so we just revise that. So we'll come here, we'll say add role and features, and then we'll say next. And then we'll say role-based or feature-based installation. We'll leave that default setting, and then we'll say next. Okay, so select a server from the pool of servers that we want to configure. We have only one server, and that's what we are taking. Now, what do we want to do? We want to install the protocol that we are going to configure in order to make this computer, this machine, this server, the domain controller. The protocol that is necessary, the protocol that makes computer a domain controller when configured, the crown that this computer must wear in order to become the king of this kingdom is called Active Directory Domain Services. So we take that and then we say add that feature. So this will install Active Directory Domain Services amongst all of these protocols and services. Now, this protocol, this service is better called service, even though there are protocols running behind it, is the general. He will normally need a lieutenant and a captain to work with it that he can send errands and work alongside with. Those captains, those lieutenants, those other men that will work with that are typically DHCP server and then DNS server. All right, so the primary protocol service we are configuring here is Active Directory Services. However, we're also assigning DHCP service and DNS service alongside because it needs those services to be able to do its job. All right, so if I ask you what is the protocol, if you tell me, if you mention these three, the service that we need to install in order to make a computer a domain controller, if you mention the three, you are good. But if you mention just this one, you are equally good because this is the main one. Active Directory Domain Services. In short form, you can just say Active Directory. I will still understand. All right, so we say next, and then we're not configuring any of these detailed ones because we are not going to be Microsoft certified system engineers. We're just learning enough of this to be able to do our system analyst work within. All right. So we'll say next, and then we'll say next, and then we'll say based on what we have configured, this installation should happen. Restart the destination server automatically if required. There's no destination server there, so we'll just say install. So what is being installed now? The 3 services that we checked. What are those 3 services? Active Directory services, DNS, and DHCP. All right. So once that installation is done, the system should restart, and then we'll have the chance to now configure. By the time we are done with configuration, that's like the coronation, the ceremony where we would place the crown on this man, and then he becomes king. Then we'll now say we have a kingdom. In IT, kingdom is called domain. And the domain controller is the king. All right. So this means we are setting up a network in terms of the services that, not just in terms of connecting cables, but in terms of the services that will actually drive traffic on that network. Any questions? Anything you need us to explain why this is good? Right. The features are still installing. All right, so the work of DHCP server or DHCP services generally is to automatically generate IP addresses, dynamic host configuration protocol, compared to static. So DHCP is the server. DHCP server is the machine that would generate IP addresses and assign these IP addresses to all the computers on this domain. So computers on a network, whether that network is a small network like a domain or a big network like an enterprise, computers on a network are always identified and communicated with based on IP address. All right, so without IP addresses, without IP, and the protocol that drives IP addresses is IP. So without IP addresses, we are not able to call computers, we are not able to identify them, we are not able to communicate with them. So because IP addressing is that important, we have to assign a captain, a manager, to ensure that the IP addresses are generated accordingly, because there are millions of possible IP addresses and they can conflict with one another. So we want to ensure that the right IP address is generated, assigned to machines or devices on the network so that we can communicate. The responsibility is DHCP servers to do that. All right. So the dynamic there means automatic, dynamic, automatically generate IP addresses for host. Host means each computer on the network, individual computers. Not always computers. When I say computer, forgive me, just mean devices. Could be a car, could be a refrigerator, could be anything on the internet. All right. And then DNS. What's DNS? Even though IP addresses are assigned to devices on the network, as humans, we don't necessarily address those devices using their IP addresses. It's easier for us to address those devices using simple names like computer 1, server 2, manager 7, and so on and so forth. Then, how do we now resolve a simple name like computer 1 to its IP address so that we can communicate with it? With the time while I'm explaining this says configuration requires successfully installed. So we'll close this and then that installation is done. However, a caution sign shows here to say something needs to be done. There's something waiting. And that is two things we must complete. First, complete the DHCP configuration that we started. So we'll click that. We'll click that and we'll simply say commit and then close. So that caution is gone, which means we have completed that DHCP configuration. And then this one says, now that you have installed the service, the three services that we installed, specifically this one, the Active Directory, domain services. Do you want to wear this service on as a crown on this computer so that it becomes the domain controller? In other words, do you want to promote this server to a domain controller? Ideally, yes, because otherwise, why did we install? Why did we order the crown worth $3 million if we're not going to do this? We are going to come here and say, promote this server to domain controller. And this is the configuration part. All right, let's do it. Add a new domain to an existing domain. Add a new domain controller to an existing domain. We do not have an existing domain. This is our first domain. Add a new domain to an existing forest. We do not have anything existing. This is the first ever. Then this is the right thing to click. Create a new forest, where a forest will be one or two domains. Right? In this case, consider domain to be a tree. Forest will be 1 tree, 2 trees, 3, 14 trees, 300 trees. Okay, so yes, a group of domains. All right. So in order for us to have a domain, we must first of all have a forest. It doesn't matter whether we have only one domain in the forest, but we must have a forest. All right, so the root domain name. What domain? Again, I was trying to explain what domain does. So domain in this case would be the name of the network that we are setting up right now. And typically networks, whereas computers will carry name like computer 1, computer 2, server, SA server, Niger server, and so on and so forth. Domains will carry names like the itan.com, the itan any top level domain, all right, .org, the itan whatever, all right. So that is the typical name that computers, that networks carry. In this example, let us use the name that will be consistent with the node. We could do domain name, we can do cyber.local. All right, local, because this is not a registered domain name. So if we attempt to, yeah, we could do it internally. If it was registered and we have cyber.com as our registered domain name, and then we can use it, maybe we should. But it doesn't matter what that is, it will still work. All right, so let's just do cyber.local, like I said, for consistency. Or the item.local, it doesn't have to be. All right, so we just do that as the name of our network. So anytime it asks us for the name of our network, that's what we do. All right, so next, please, if you feel free to ask questions anytime if you are lost. So the directory service restore mode, who is the person that has the authority to do this? The administrator of this server. And then during the installation, I put the administrator's password as the itan 2024. All right, the itan. Let me show about that. The itan 2024. All right, so we'll do that and then we'll say next. All right, just ignore that. It's not a serious one. And then we'll say, we're not delegating DNS. In fact, we're not even going into the detail of DNS. We'll just understand the meaning and what it does, and that's fine. We're not even delegating the responsibility. So we ignore that and we'll say next. And then the system by itself will check what we have entered, and by itself will populate these fields for us. That the net BIOS name is the item minus .local. All right, and then we'll say next. And then we'll say next. And then that's it. Next. Prerequisites need to be validated before Active Directory domain services can be configured. I prefer to call this configured on this system. And that verification has been done, and then it has that green mark telling you that all of the prerequisites have been met. All right. And now can install, or better still configure. If we call the first stage installation, then I prefer to call this stage. But it doesn't matter, whatever, as long as you understand. All right. So I was explaining the meaning of DNS. So when we have a name like the itan.local like we have now, and then we already explained that networks and devices on the network are addressed by IP addresses, then apparently we are not doing the right thing. So we need a third party to take the name that we have assigned and convert and map that name to its actual IP address. So that while as humans we are referring to the network by its network name, by its domain name, then this other protocol is actually taking that name and resolving it to its IP address and then connecting to the IP address. Does it make sense? These are interview questions now if you claim that you know networking. Did you understand the place of DNS? If you don't, I can further explain it. Man, you guys are not talking. You are not interacting at all. What's the problem? Is this
Yeah,
how
I
I
understand.
want to do 3 months training? No.
We're here.
If you understand, tell me you understand now, so that I don't waste time explaining what you already understand. You make a contribution.
Okay. All right.
All right. So there's no need to dwell on that any further. You already understand what DHCP is and what DNS is. All right. So I'll come back and ask you questions around that later on. But for now,
I did. I don't know. Ola, did we go through making a domain controller with the other teacher?
Yeah.
Oh, we did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we gave you a name. You remember?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I remember.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
But
You
even if you
type in
did,
your
that's
name as
that's what we're doing now. We're creating the domain controller right now.
Yeah, you just created the domain controller already, right? And you're
Mm-hmm.
putting.
Yes, that's what we're doing. It's actually still going on. It's not quite ready. Okay, so if we go to Paint, because that'll take a while to complete and rather than just wait. All right, you answer this question. Huh? Let's see how you're copying. So this computer here, this device here, on this network is a domain. It just means a simplified kind of network like a LAN, local area network within a building, not like a big network that is spanning cities. So a LAN running Windows server is a domain, equal domain. Okay, so on this domain, we have computer 1, and then we have another computer 2. For this computer, we will have a switch here, if we assume physical network. For this computer to communicate with this computer, it will call, this one will call this one by its IP address, this one will call this one by its IP address. All right? And then I already answered the question that I wanted to ask. Okay, so, but the name of this computer is Computer 2, and the name of this one is Computer 1. Now, we have just said that this is addressed by its IP address and by its IP address. So now, this computer is going to send a message. Meanwhile, there are other computers. There are other devices on the network, everywhere on the network, connected to a central place through which they all communicate. This is called a switch. All right. So now the question is, when this computer is sending a message to this computer, it's going to say, Computer 2, are you there? I'm sending a message. You'll receive it. Now, that is the way they will communicate. Well, who are you? I'm Computer 1. Where are you calling from? I'm your family member now within the same network. Oh, okay, so okay, I'm ready. Send the message now. Now it's going to send message to Computer 2 from Computer 1. We have not mentioned IP address here. So where does IP address come in? There will be a service somewhere, maybe on this system, maybe on that system, somewhere there will be a service on this network, on this domain, that will take the name of computer, that has the list of all of the computers. Computer 1, IP address is 1.2.3.4. Computer 2 IP address is 3.4.5.6. Computer 3 IP address is 4.7.13.20. All right. So that when these guys are saying Computer 1, Computer 2, Computer 7, Computer 8, that request will still come here and then say Computer 8. Oh, he's talking, when he says Computer 8, it means computer with the IP address 3.4.5. Oh, okay, now. And then it will resolve it. And then it will now channel that communication to Computer 7, like that. What is the name of this service? That's the question. Yes, what's the name of this service? Based on what I just said.
Sorry,
Of the
what's the
service is,
question? Is it DHCP?
yeah, like is yeah, because it's the one that actually assign IP address to the system on the same network automatically.
Okay. So what is the name of this service here? This service here?
DHCP,
No, it's DNS. The
DNS.
explanation of DHCP is correct. It's the one that assigns IP addresses automatically. But this one is not
Okay,
assigning IP addresses automatically. This one is resolving the computer name to an IP address. So this is
okay,
the DNS service. If it wasn't a computer name, if it was a domain name, like yahoo.com, and the IP address is 169.50, if it was google.com, and it will still be the same thing, whether it is resolving computer name or it is resolving domain name, is the same domain name services. All right, so that's the work of DNS. Okay, no, now our server is ready. So let's log in. To log in, we'll go to input, keyboard, insert, control delete. Our password is the akin, don't forget, because we'll be needing it all the time. The akin 2024 hash. And now we're logging in for the first time since after we created the domain. Earlier on when we logged in when the system was a standalone, when it wasn't the king. Now it is the domain controller, and we are using this domain controller to log in to the domain. And that was why you saw, you may not have noticed, but when you watch the video, you will see that the akin appeared as part of the administrator, not just administrator. Anyway, so this computer now is this machine is now the domain controller. And by that, we now have a domain where the name of our domain is the akin.local. All right. So here is explaining Active Directory, DHCP, just like we already explained it in class, and then the name, DNS, and what it does. Is there something you need us to revise? Was that too fast? How to, after you have created, you have installed your Windows Server operating system, in this case, Windows Server 2022, how to install and configure Active Directory domain services in order to make this machine our domain controller. Yes, apparently there's something that Josephine didn't catch. You can ask a question.
I think I'm just gonna need this document after class just to
Yeah.
refresh my memory.
Oh, okay. But you already have the document though.
I do.
Oh, you don't? You guys don't have manual from
And
oh,
I have it.
okay. So
Yeah,
just
because he
you have,
sent, I'm not sure if he sent it to you, but yeah, he sent it to me because I asked for it. I think he said he's going to
yes,
send it after, I don't know.
yes, you
Maybe
asked
you
and
need to
I
check your
sent
mail.
it to
Yeah.
you. You asked and I
Oh,
sent it because
no,
it's
I'm
the
even
same
talking
forum.
about Mr. Ray. He actually sent it to me.
Oh, okay, okay. That's all. Okay, I thought it was Sam. Okay. All right, so let's go on. If you don't have it, no problem. But you just need to speak up in the group so that, because somebody asked in the group after class the other day and I sent to him as well. So I expected that, oh, is there a manual like this? I need it too. And then I'll give you access. All right, so now, if I'm not too fast, if everything's still okay, but if you feel I'm too fast, please ask questions that will slow us down and then we can look at stuff. But if everything's fine, let's continue. So now we have domain controller. What's the next thing we want to do? Next thing we want to do now is we cannot use just one system on the network to practice. We want to add 1, 2 more systems to this domain. All right. So what we want to do now is set up a client. We call the other one client. And then we would be able to complete the setup of a domain. So this is what we are trying to do, Control N, just in case somebody's not following. Guys, just give me 1 second to turn this thing off. 1 second. All right, I'm back. All right, so what we are trying to achieve is set up a domain. Okay, we just explained what domain is. So who can tell me what is a domain? If we say this is a domain, what does it mean? A network
Uh, okay.
running server, Windows Server. A network running network with Windows Server OS. That's a domain. Fine. What do we need to set up a domain? I want to say network. This is a small network. Small networks are called LANs, local area networks. Okay. So what do we need to set up a domain? When we say network, what do we need to set up a network? All right, so we need that. I'm going to represent this by cables. or cables by that rather. So we have a switch here, we have a port. This is a port. So there's a port on the machine. There's a port there. So this is the cable, at least imaginary in this case. We'll connect one cable to the machine, one end of the cable to the machine, the other end of the cable to the switch. There's a cable to this computer, the other end of the cable to the machine. There's a cable, there's a port, a hole on the system that you plug something to. It's called port, physical port. All right? So that is called port. Port. Okay. So on this machine, we have installed Windows Server 2022, but we don't need to put that number. Because we have installed Windows Server on this computer, we'll call this computer our server. On this other machine, we have downloaded and installed the Windows 10 Enterprise. Windows 10 Enterprise. On this one was also downloaded and installed Windows 10 Enterprise. All right. For that reason, because we're not talking about server, we're talking about enterprise, we call this machine client. And we'll call this machine client. To differentiate, maybe we call this one client 1, client 2. So the server, this is the server because it's running Windows Server operating system. This is a client because it's running Windows 10 Enterprise. You are wondering, when did I download that? I downloaded Windows 10 Enterprise from, okay, don't worry, we'll take a look at that. Let's focus on, let's not go too far. I'll talk about that when we get here. But for now, let's focus on the servers. Now, is this server also our domain controller? This server, is it also our domain controller?
Yes.
Okay, yes. What makes this server a domain controller? Why did you say yes?
Yeah, because it has on the Windows server, to make a domain controller, we're gonna download is a server or service which is called DNS and DHCP and Active Directory. Active Directory.
All right, so the answer is, you just mentioned something, so I'll take it from there. The reason this is the domain controller is because we have Active Directory configured in it. That's what you're trying to say with that long story. Active Directory. The full name is Active Directory Domain Services. But if you just say Active Directory, I understand. So the reason this server is our domain controller is because we have Active Directory installed. So that's why we call it domain controller. Correct. All right. So that is fine. Thank you for that contribution. So what about this? This one is running Windows. Active Directory is resident only in server. It's not resident in client. So before we even talk about Active Directory, it means that we already have a server operating system, specifically Windows, because there are other kinds of server operating systems. There's another kind of server operating system called Linux. So that's why I keep mentioning Windows when I say operating system, so that you know that I'm specifically talking about Windows operating system. Windows Server operating system, not Linux server. Okay. Now, we have that. Here is enterprise, not server. Therefore, we do not have Active Directory. This one is enterprise, not server. Therefore, we do not have Active Directory, and therefore cannot configure Active Directory. So for that reason, we'll call them client. Now, do we now have a domain? Yes, we do have a domain. We have a domain because we have this connection here. The server operating system connected here, and then here. And more importantly, on top of that, we have this as domain controller, like you explained, because this is running there. Fine. So now we have a domain. So another question is, What is the real reason beyond just network with server operating system that we call this one domain? Anybody? What actually qualifies this network that we are drawing here, that we are studying? What's the primary thing that qualifies it as a domain? Okay. Now, it is possible for me to have another network of computer 1, computer 2, computer 3, all of them interconnected, all right? So that this computer 1, computer 2, computer 3, they can share resources. For example, there is a TV connected to this computer. Then because of this networking, it is possible to view that TV from here, view that TV from maybe database connected to the computer. It's possible to see records on that database from this computer 2, which could be in a different room from that, and then it's possible to see that same record here from computer 3. So the whole essence of networking is to share resources. In this case, the resource we are talking about is this database here, all right? But this computer does not have Windows Server. And because it does not have Windows Server, it's running client operating system. Therefore, we cannot talk about domain controller. Domain controller as a term is peculiar to Windows Server. So this one has no Windows Server. This one has no Windows Server. This one has no Windows Server. They are all client operating system, client operating system. Is it possible to have a network like this that we just drew here, where all of the devices making up the network is just client operating system? None of them is server operating system. Is it possible?
I don't think so.
Oh, you don't think so? Yes, it is possible. Maybe we should have started from there.
Will that be a peer-to-peer network?
Yes, that's a peer-to-peer network. Correct. Where did you learn that term in class?
Just my own studying.
Okay, so this is peer-to-peer network. Correct. Peer-to-peer. So comparing this network here to this network here, we call this one domain, and then we'll call this one peer-to-peer. Is it clear to everybody?
Yeah, it's clear.
All right. So we can have a peer-to-peer network. Now, what is the significant difference? The significant difference between this network and this network is that we call this one corporate network, corporate network, and this one remains peer-to-peer. Or, okay, in these new terminologies that I'm introducing now, what we are calling this one corporate, in that case, we will call this one work group. Work group. If I call this one corporate, I call this one work group. If I call this one domain, I call this one peer-to-peer. Correct. Now, what is the difference? This is the real difference. This network is secure. And we're talking security here. This network is not secure. So for home network, you just want your children to be able to have access to internet, to everything, nothing to secure. It's not like a bank or corporate organization where you really need to secure stuff. Peer-to-peer network will do. But for corporate organizations, like a bank where there is need for security, otherwise you come to office the next morning, all of your money is gone, then we need to introduce security. For security, we must use this setting. These are the fundamentals. These are the understanding that you must have before we now say you are a network engineer or you are an IT person. All right. Now, let's ask a few questions to see whether you are still copying. Now, what makes this network secure?
secure because all the clients are connected to a server?
No. What makes this network secure? That's not the correct answer. What makes this network secure?
In a way, I would say, um,
Just one
okay,
word. You don't have to. In IT, we don't
okay.
speak too many grammar, just the technical term. What makes this network secure? Is Sam in this? Yeah, Sam is the guy that joined that. Are you in this class? Are you making contribution? What makes this network secure? The answer is right there. I've done the connection now. Look at it. I said this network is secure because of this. So what makes this network secure?
The domain.
Yes. So what makes this network a domain?
The Windows server installed on it.
Or
Active
what?
Directory.
Yes, Active Directory is the keyword. That's the real keyword. So what makes it a domain is the Active Directory. So therefore, relate this. What makes this server? What makes this network secure? Now, answer that question.
Active Directory.
All right, okay. Even if you don't put that in phrase or sentence, yes, I still take it. Now, that is the reason this guy is secure. What makes this network unsecure?
There's no Active Directory.
The absence of Active Directory. Correct. Now you are coming up as a network engineer, as a, I don't know what title to give you, but just as an IT person. Correct. So you just answered it now. When Active Directory is present on a network and that network is secure, what do you call that network?
Domain.
Domain. When Active Directory is not present on a network and therefore that network is not secure, what kind of network is it?
Peer-to-peer.
Peer-to-peer, correct. So by feeding me back with all of this, it shows that you're understanding what we are doing. What's another name, the technical name for peer-to-peer? Peer-to-peer is English. What's the technical name for peer-to-peer network?
Working group.
Work group, correct.
Okay, focus. Okay.
Work group. All right. So what would
I
you
have
keep?
a question though.
All
Are
right,
you
please.
saying a network is secure because it has Active Directory?
Yes,
That's what makes it secure?
that's
What
correct.
is the security in Active Directory?
Correct. There's security in Active Directory. That's the whole idea. That's what the message. What carries the security features that we're talking about here is Active Directory. So by the time we go into practicals now, we'll be talking Active Directory, Active Directory, Active Directory, because that's where the security is. Correct. So in all of this, we'll be talking, by the time we focus now, we'll be talking less about all of this. We'll just focus here because like you just observed, that is where this, as security analyst, this is where the security features will be using. This is where they will be. And shortly we are going to go into that and I'll show you Active Directory and all of its security features that you'll be configuring to make, to show that you're a keyboard person. All right, has that answered your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, let's do dwell here just to make sure everybody's good. Okay, so this is a peer-to-peer network, and this is the domain network. Okay, we're not really, okay, yes, I was going to ask, under what scenario or in what situation would you deploy a peer-to-peer network rather than a secure domain network? Where would you use a peer-to-peer network? Or would you deploy a peer-to-peer network?
You can deploy a peer-to-peer like in your house.
Yes, you don't need any security. There is no, compared to the security that you'll be deploying in cloud and other networks, you don't really need, nobody's coming to your home network to steal anything worth millions of dollars. So the security is low. All right, fine. Now, when we have this domain here, maybe in our head office, and then we have another branch office, Control C, Control V. And then we'll have another domain in branch office 1. And then we'll have Control C, Control. We'll have another branch office in Netherlands, or maybe even within the same state. All right, maybe one in Dallas, one in Houston. And now we need to connect this domain. Let's say this headquarters to branch office, to another branch office, and maybe many branch offices. We need to connect them together. The connection, let's just say through the internet. Yeah, internet will be the most easiest way. Using VPN. Then we no longer have just a domain. What do we call this kind of big network that we now have now, which is a combination of multiple networks? You know, it becomes more complex now than when we had just a single domain. So it is this kind of bigger network, more complex network, where we're not talking about VPN, we're talking about routers here, we're talking about all the different protocols that we need to configure here to secure. It's just complex. This is the kind of network that we call enterprise network compared to domain. So this whole thing together now is now an enterprise network. So what is bigger network? Domains or enterprise networks? Enterprise, okay. So this enterprise network. And of course, in scope, it is bigger. In complexity, security related, it's more complex. And then, of course, definitely has more infrastructure, more resources. By the way, when we say infrastructure, do you know what we mean? This is a router here. That is an IT infrastructure. This is a switch. That's an infrastructure. This is server. That's an infrastructure. This is a workstation. That's an infrastructure. All right. Everything physical, or that you can imagine to be physical, that will, even the ones that are not physical, even the operating system that will load inside, they are all part of it. Or at this stage, just say any IT resource is an infrastructure. All right. So in terms of the resources that you need to build your network, enterprise networks are bigger. So this is domain, but this is enterprise. All right, so we can mention just 2 IT infrastructure here within this enterprise network. Or maybe 3 different IT infrastructure within this enterprise network. Switch, correct.
Server.
Thank you. Servers, correct. What else? One more.
And operating system, which is probably Windows.
Okay, Windows Server. All right, thank you. All right, just tell me you understand this diagram now, and then we'll move back to class. If there's something you don't understand, let's explain. Of course, would always, let's not complicate this, we'll introduce that later. Yes, anything you don't understand here? Sam, are you with us? I don't think I've heard your voice today.
I am.
Have you been contributing?
Yeah.
Oh, great, thank you. I just want to make sure you are copying. All right, so are we done with this? Should we return to class? To practical? All right. Okay, so let's come back here. We left for too long, so let's log back. Yeah, we remember what we're trying to do. So you see the item, then administrator. By the time you watch the video, you are going to see that the first time we logged into this system, it was not showing the item. It was only showing administrator, which means we logged into the system then for the first time as a standalone server. But now we are logging into the domain administrator via this. Sorry, we are logging into the domain, the item, as administrator via this system. All right, so the item 2024 hash is our domain. All right. One second. All right. So what do we want to do here? What's the reason? I mean, what's the next thing? So what we wanted to do here was Paul took a break to go and explain all of this concept was to, yes, to create a client so that we can add a client. We don't just have one computer, we have at least 2 or 3 here. So this is how to add a client. Let's go. So we go back to our virtualization environment, our Oracle VirtualBox. Can you see it? In fact, let's follow the notes. So to create a virtual machine and put Windows Client Operating System, we click this link. Can you see this link in your note? And then it brings us to where we can download the client operating system. Can you see Windows 10 Enterprise? Windows 10 Enterprise operating system. That's what makes a computer a client. So we'll come here. And then we'll download Windows 10 Enterprise. Complete this form and download Windows 10 Enterprise. And that I already did because I didn't want to waste your time in class. If you come here and you go to my virtualization, you see that I already downloaded right here. Client Enterprise, you can see that. All right, so that's what we're going to do. But in your case, you go to that link and you download. Now let us set up a machine, another virtual machine that would have this installed on. All right, so the process is right there. So we'll come here to our virtualization environment, and then we'll say create a new machine. New machine. Let's call this new machine client. We'll call it client 2. Can be any name. We doesn't have to start with client. I call it manager or print server or anything. But for simplicity, just say client 2. All right. And then we see the operating system for this machine. Go and get it from the place I just showed you now. So we go there, which is in downloads, virtualization. These are the software that I use for my virtualization. I click that and I say open. All right. And I say, don't do this automatically. Let me guide you to do it. So I say skip unattended installation. And then I click next. I assign resources from my physical machine to the virtual machine. So I say take 22 gig out of my memory. From my 48 processors, take maybe that will do. And then I say next. And then I give my storage. 50 typically will do. I just leave it at 50. So these are the 3 system resources: CPU, memory, and storage. So once I assign those 3, we are done. We have set up our machine. So now let us run the machine so that the installation of the operating system can complete. So we'll click start, and the machine will now start. And then it will start to install and then configure the operating system. In this case, the client, Windows Enterprise, Windows 10 Enterprise, in order to make it a client. And then once that one is complete, we'll now go and join that client. I think it's running in the background. Let's see, where's It should be running in the back. Yeah, so that's it. It's running. So once this installation is complete, we'll now go and join this computer to the domain so that we'll now have a domain of 2 machines. The domain controller, which we already have, which we have completed, and now the first client. It's just like going to a physical office. In the server room, you configure the domain controller, you put it there, and then you put label, no entry. This is server room, out of bounds to non-start. Even to start to everybody, it's just the administrator that can go in there. And then to the manager, in the manager's office, you install a system. The accountant office, you install a system, and so on and so forth. So all of those other systems we are installing outside of the server room that is connected to the server, those are the ones we are calling clients in the traditional network environment. But all of that is moving to cloud, to virtualization actually. And that is why we are using this to represent the traditional, this modern way to represent the traditional environment. Well, that's what it would have been if we were doing this 10 or 13 years ago. All right, questions? I will still copy.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
Okay. Yeah, just one person speaking will just assure me. You don't know. Okay, so on behalf of the others, I believe they are copying. All right, so this is what we'll do, and then we'll spend maybe another 15 minutes, and this one will be ready. But I already completed that, like I said. I had to just go through these steps to show you how it is done. So if I want, I can continue. Okay, let me just continue. And then we'll say install. Let me just continue just so you know how to do it when you are doing it on your. And this system is robust enough to take multiple. So I just do that, I do that. And then be careful here. I'm not going to say upgrade. I'm going to say custom. Always custom. All right. It's good we are doing this so that you learn that. And not come back and say, I tried to install my own machine, but I ran into error. Watch the video and take the steps. All right, so we just spend this opportunity to explain things and not just wait and not talk for 100%. So, what do you need me to explain? You know what DHCP is, you know what DNS is, you know that the security that we enjoy in domain is provided by Active Directory. Where there is Active Directory, there is security. Where there is no Active Directory, there is no security. All right, what else do you? What else do you want to know?
Okay, let me ask this. Let's say I work now. Will they ask you to do this, like to build a network for them, or they already have the network? I'm sure there's some, yeah, there's some that they will have their network. They just take you to maybe, okay, yeah, maybe they will just take you, or you'll be required to build a network.
Okay, so to answer that question, let's go to LinkedIn. Let's pretend we are looking for the role of Windows Server Administrator, because you never know where the opportunity will come from as you live here and begin to look for a job. So jobs relating to not in Nigeria, in the US. All right. Cloud administrator, which is what you would we're training you. Cloud administrator. As a matter of fact, Windows Server in isolation is fading from traditional networks. It's fading and becoming more and more of cloud. But let's just see, like I said, you never know where the opportunity will come from. So let's look at the $60 per hour Windows Server Administrator. All right. So let's look at the job to answer your question. This position is responsible for client Windows Server System. Is that not what we are doing? This is exactly another name for domain. All right. it is responsible for architecting. That is all of this drawing we are trying to draw and understand. Maintaining Windows infrastructure. I told you name 7 infrastructure. You named them, right? So you know what infrastructure is. On-prem, not in cloud, and also in cloud, including what? Who can read this?
Microsoft Active
Active
Directory.
Directory. So how would you know Microsoft Active Directory if we didn't do it from scratch like this? So to answer your question, at least at the interview, they expect that you understand this, and you cannot understand it if we didn't do it from scratch. Okay, so as required by business position, yeah, we may not have covered all of this, but look at this. Look at this core. What's this? Microsoft Active Directory. And in understanding Microsoft Active Directory, you must understand what DNS is. You must understand what DHCP is. All right? Enterprise. We mentioned enterprise. Right? So what are we saying here? That in IT, in the organization that will be employing you, first of all, you'll not be the only person. There will be at least, depending on the organization, maybe 235, 700 of you. So even if they say we need to set this up, it may not be your one person's job to do it. Now, the final answer to your question is, where the network already exists, you should understand all of these terminologies and the deployment enough to maintain that network. Now, there is nothing stopping them from saying, we have this network existing for client 1, Bank of America. We want to repeat the same thing for Chase. And therefore, this thing that we already have, go and do it all over. So yes, it could be that you are working on an existing network. That network can crash anytime. A virus, a threat, some disaster can happen, earthquake, fire, some vulnerabilities exploited by a different country, and then we'll now need to do it all over. So both more organizations, startup, may want to start a new one, in which case you may be required to be part of the team that will set up the new one. All right. In case in other cases, it may be that it already exists and then you just join the team. Does that answer your question? Windows Server System Administrator. So if we look at that as well and we look at the job description, are you familiar with anything here?
Yes.
Look at it. Assist with installation. This is the answer to your question.
Mm-hmm.
You are going to assist with installation. And your question was, are we going to do installation in this new company, or is installation already done? Are we going to do any configuration, or is it already done? Look at it. You are going to assist with installation, configuration, and maintenance of what? Windows Server within Active Directory. Group policy, DNS, DHCP. Yes, we are going to go into all of this.
Which one is RDS?
Relational Database System.
Okay.
All right. And then DHCP, DNS. All right. So we have answered your question now. So we can return to class. Any other question you want us to look at here? Because this is the part we are training you for right now. Out of this analyst course, by the time we are done with the IT analyst, then we'll come back here and look for IT security related position. And then we would have covered all of that enough to be able to IT security special. And by then we would have understood more of that. No, we're not going to cover this. So not every role that carries that title would you necessarily be qualified for information security. But like I said, by the time we are done and we'll come back here, we should be able to understand, especially after the second month. First month is more of, especially after the second month, we should be able to not only understand what they are talking about here, we should be able to claim the experience that yes, we have done this. Risk assessment and management. Have you had this before? Have you heard this before?
Yes, I think you talked about that like the last class.
Yeah, that's what I expected.
Yeah.
All right. And then we talked about conducting risk analysis.
Mhm.
And then we said we are going to do the practical of it. And then we said next time, yes. So these are exactly the things we are covering. All right. So let's go back to class. I won't answer that question here. So if we close this. Oh, this one still has not completed. What's going on? I was using the... No, cannot wait for this. While that one is going on in the background, let me use the one that is already installed. It expected me to leave the system so that I can use the resources fully by itself without me using some of the RAM space to browse. That's why it was so. So what do we do? Use the one already completed or patiently wait for this so that when you're installing by yourself, you know exactly what to do. Let's patiently wait
So
for
what
this.
are we
Okay, it's almost
installing?
complete.
Is it Windows 11?
No, Windows 10. Windows
Okay.
10 Enterprise. Enterprise version, not just Windows 10. And we got it from this link in the notes. If you want to download that, I can give you the link. Control C, and then I put it in chat for you.
Yeah,
Control
I
V.
have that installed already.
Okay. So Windows 10 Enterprise. It must contain an enterprise. That is what makes it networkable. And that's what makes that's why that it is from there that it's able to take advantage of the security features of Windows Server, or more specifically of Active Directory.
What's the difference with Windows 10 Enterprise and Windows 10 Pro?
Enterprise, we need to look for specific, go for specific difference. But basically, like I just explained, it is the one that carries enterprise that is able to take full advantage of the security features that Active Directory has to offer. We are always looking for the name enterprise. If your question now is, can Windows Pro also do that? We'll need to find out what is contained in Windows Pro and whether it can actually also do that.
So
But
in oh sorry,
yeah, go on.
I was gonna say in the work environment, like what do they use Enterprise?
Enterprise, yeah, that's what we said many times.
Okay.
Enterprise. Always enterprise. It must always carry. That's the meaning of enterprise. The enterprise there is deliberately put there to tell you that that is the one to use when it comes to networking for security purpose. Like we
Right.
already know, for peer-to-peer, you can use any operating system, even Pro, any of them can do it. But when it comes to, I really need this system to be able to take advantage, 100% advantage of all of the security features that is present that the domain controller can offer through Active Directory domain services, then it will be enterprise. Any other operating system that is not enterprise might be able to do 80%, 90%. For enterprise is the real deal. All right. At least it's good you ask a question, so it's becoming interesting. It's really dull if the talk is just from one thing. All right, so our Windows Enterprise installation is completing. And then finally, we are going to have it ready so that we can configure, join it to domain. And then we'll now have a network. All right, so let's quickly complete that. Yes. Skip. All right, so let's continue from here now together. So here, we are not going to treat this system as if it will be standalone. We're just going to say domain join instead. We are going to use this system to join our domain so that we can, rather than set it up as a standalone by answering all of these questions. So let's start. So we'll click domain join instead. Who is going to use this system? Anybody, let's say manager. All right, and then we'll say next. What's the password? Let's do the akin 2024 hash. Confirm password, the akin 2024. It doesn't match. Okay, let's start all over. The akin 2024. The akin 2024. Let's be sure this time. The akin 2024, okay. Okay. Security question. Any question is okay. I'll just say whatever question you ask me, I'll just say TTC. In case you forget your password, these are the security questions they will ask to say, okay, it's you now. This is the opportunity to change the password once you can provide the right answer. All right, so I'm just going to accept all of those. All right, so our client is ready now, our client operating system and our client device. Not operating system, our client device. Our client device is running the Windows 10 enterprise operating system. The Windows 11, Windows 12, Windows 300, as long as it has enterprise attached to it, is the right OS. All right, so any questions?
No questions.
Uh, all right, so this is the part we're at now. Double click version of Windows 64, install the virtual machine, can maximize the display, and then if we want to rename the client from whatever name it is bearing now, you can do that. But more importantly, we want to begin to assign. Once our network is ready, then we'll now start network administration, which is how to create accounts, how to create user accounts, how to create groups, like we saw in that job description. Then we'll be able to master all of this. We're ready here. Oh, this one's there. Where are we? Okay, so I don't even know which one is there. Okay, so fine, true. This is the one installed. Okay, so where is this? Let's close this. Okay, looks like our Windows is ready. So let me make this one cover the whole screen because right now it's just like a second. Let me just make this window cover the whole screen so that it will look mature like a real system, not like a tenant that has not paid his bill. Okay, so I'll just go to devices and I'll say insert CD. All right. Once that is inserted here, I'll go to the file explorer of that machine, and then I'll go to this PC and I'll take my CD, which I just inserted. If I double click that, I'm going to see VirtualBox Windows Addition. So I'll double click this and then I'll say install next. What does this do? It will install the drivers that drivers are basically the small software that will enhance the different aspects that are hidden behind the scene here. Specifically, we are going to see that it will load the driver that will make this screen, this blue part, cover the whole screen. So let's quickly restart the system because all of those drivers have been installed now. And this system, this machine will not behave like a real machine because it has all of the finishing touches it needs to enhance itself by the installation of that addition. And you'll find that in the notes. What we do. Maximize the screen, all right? Click the menu, insert guest addition CD, which we just did now. And then if it requires you to restart, restart. So input, control or delete. The password for manager is the akin 2024. Okay, so right now we have 4 systems. I have my laptop, which is the host, and I have 3 virtual machines on the laptop. So 4 different computers enabled by virtualization. All right, so to cover this whole screen, because I already installed the server, the drivers, I'm just going to come to view, and I'm going to say auto resize guest display. That should work. Go back. Auto resize guest display. Yeah, it's covered the whole screen. All right, beautiful. So I think I guess we can start our configuration. Any questions so far before I go too far? So we've installed our server, we configured our server to become our domain controller, and now we have which means we already have a network technically to this server. And now we have installed our first client, and we want to join this client to the domain. How do we do it? This is how to do it. I hope I'm not rushing. I hope any question?
Question for now.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So in order to join this to the domain, we must first of all ensure 2 things. What's the most important this singular configuration that we must have in place in order to begin to talk about networking in the first place. Before we say network, join computer to network, and what's the most important thing we must ensure is in place? IP addressing. All right, so the first thing we want to do here is assign IP address to our systems. All right, let us start from the server. So let's go to the server. This is our server, server O2 running. Okay, so login, login. The item 2024. All right, so this is our server. We'll go to the server manager and then we'll go to local server. We are going to see the properties of this server. The name of this computer is this. That's not a good name. We can always change it. We can come here and say computer description, change, and then we can remove this name and put a new name there. Maybe server or something. But I don't have time for all of that, so I just manage whatever name. And then the domain that is representing is the item.local. And then we have a remote management enabled Ethernet. Look at Ethernet. IP version 4 is dynamically assigned. All right. But this is the first computer on the network. I've not actually configured the DHCP. I did install DHCP, but I've not configured it. So this one will not work. So I have to manually assign an IP address to this first system, so that at least I know what the IP address is that other systems can have. Because, okay, let's do it. So we'll click here and we'll see, you remember what we called ports earlier on when we drew that diagram? This is the port now. This is the port, also called the network interface card, also called the adapter, also called Ethernet card, so many names. So we want to configure this port with an IP address. So if we double click that, and then we take properties, or better still, we right click, anyone actually can, it's easier for me to right click, and I take properties. All right. And then I come to the Internet Protocol version 4. I take that particular one and I say properties. So this is where I can say, do not accept any dynamically, automatically assigned IP address. Use this IP address instead. And I come in here and I say 192. Oh, sorry. I don't know my name. 192.168.100.10. And then I press my tab key. All right. So once I accept this, what's happening? It's going to say use this IP address as its IP address. So I'm statically, manually assigning an IP address. But if I click here, it means that I am using the automatically assigned IP address from the DHCP server. But if I click here, I'm saying use this IP address that I'm going to enter here, which is 192.168.100.10. You got that? So if I say okay, then I have manually assigned an IP address. All right, so that one should come up. I should accept that new IP address. As it token 7. All right, so if I close that, this one should change to the new IP address now. All right, so if I refresh that, look at it, it has accepted the new IP address. So that is how to change an IP address, to assign an IP address. All right, so now that I've assigned this IP address, I must go also to the client and assign the same IP address, the same family IP address. So that way they will belong to the same family, and then they will be able to communicate. So I go to the client right there. And in the case of the client, I'm just going to say search for, instead of looking, I just search for Ethernet. And I'll find it here, Ethernet settings. And like we did the first time with the other one, if I go to Ethernet and I say change adapter settings, change advanced, change adapter options. And then I right click and I take properties. I do the same thing here like we did the properties. And here we're going to say, use this IP address. Now, if I say 54.42.4.8, this is nonsense. This is rubbish. It's not ever going to be able to see that other IP address and communicate. In order for them to be able to see each other, they must carry the same surname. They must carry the same network part of the address. To do that, I must make sure that whatever I'm giving here must be identical. 192, oh, sorry. 192.168.100. So this identical part with the other one, I mean, the same thing as the other one, it shows that they belong to the same network. However, if I now put 10 like I put on the other one, I cannot use the same IP address that another system already has. It will not work. So I must put something different so that it's unique. All right. And now the subnet mask should change from, in fact, it should automatically change. So if I just come here and press tab, it should have changed, but because I was trying to show 255.255.255.0. Default gateway, don't worry about it. And then I'm going to say prefer DNS server. In case we want to use DNS server, the place to go to ask, I want DNS service, so please give it to me so that he help me resolve this. That place will be the domain controller. What's the IP address of the domain controller? 192.168.100.10. That was the IP address we assigned. All right, and then we say, okay, close. So this is how to assign IP address, carrying the same surname, the same network IP as the other ones. So as long as the network IP is the same, they should be able to see one another. Confusing or clear? In case it's confusing, I'm here to explain whatever is confused. All right, so I have this domain. I will have one computer there, one device there, and then another device here. Oh, we have another device here. Oh. Okay. All right, so to network them, for them to be able to communicate with each other, what do we do? Okay. All right, I'll just, bear with me, let me just draw it. Okay, so I'll have some imaginary switch connected to the Ethernet port, to which we assign an IP address. And then there'll be an Ethernet port. We'll just assign an IP address. So the IP address we assign here is 192.168.10.100.10. What IP address must we assign here for it to be able to see this? We will assign any IP address that is not carrying this network part, that will not be able. So the IP address of this network is 192.168.100.0. So which means all children, all the devices on this network must carry this part. Otherwise, they are not children, and therefore they cannot communicate as brothers and sisters. So whatever IP address we are giving here must be 192.168.100. So that is the consistent part. As for the That's the last name. As for the first name, it can be anything. So maybe just put that along. Is it clear?
Yes, it is clear.
All right, thank you for confirming that. So who said it's clear? I need you now to give me an IP address for this system, a valid IP address. So they're going to call you and say, this system is not saying the network, there's a problem. And then you're just going to go there because of your understanding of this concept. And you are going to give this system an IP address that will make it able to communicate with this one and able to communicate with this one. Can you give?
Okay.
Give me
192
192
dot
168
dot 100
dot 100
dot 12.
dot 12. Thank you so much. Correct. Who was that?
Allah.
Allah. Thank you. All right, Josephine, we need to carry you along now. Are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Hmm?
I am.
Are you following? Is it too complex for you?
I'm following.
Okay. Okay, so if you are following, then let's give you your own assignment too. So we have another system here.
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody else who did not go through proper training is configuring this one now. In fact, he has configured DHCP to automatically assign IP address, so we don't even need to manually do anything. But somehow the DHCP server was not well configured. There's a problem. So the DHCP is not supplying the correct range of IP to this system. And then what do you want to do to resolve this issue as the support? Because whenever, like we said, you could be applying for support role or anything. So yeah. So the DHCP, so you suspect that the DHCP server configuration is not right, and therefore the DHCP is giving rubbish and not the real thing. So let me not put too much pressure on you. Anybody that has the answer, what should we do to resolve this issue so that this system is not able to see this system? And by the way, how do you know when system sees another system? It's called pinging. We are going to do it. But before we go to pinging, to confirm that, yeah, this system is seeing this system, this communication link between them is working. And therefore, when this guy sends data, this guy is able to receive that data. We first of all have to establish that there is a link using ping. Okay, back to the question. How would you resolve this issue? Anybody?
If the other system is not communicating with the server, is that the question again?
Yeah, this system here is not communicating with this system.
So definitely the IP address is not right. So I think we're gonna check the NIC, or the adapter to check the IP address.
Okay, but in this case, the IP address was dynamically configured.
Oh, I think we have to make it to assign it manually.
Manually, okay, that's good. So first of all, we disable the DHCP and assign a manual IP address. Is it the same person that gave us this? Let somebody else try that. So who is going to give us between Sam and Josephine? Give us the manual IP address to assign after we have disabled the DHCP.
Well, it'll be everything but .13.
All right, .13. So 192.168.100.13. This is exactly what we're going to implement. Thank you. So, like we said, let's go and find out whether these things are actually working, having assigned them. All right, so if we go to our server, we're going to ask our server, let's first of all go to client, because I know that the server will not see the client from experience. So we go to client, and we're going to say, client, establish a route to the server and tell me if you can see the server, you can connect. So we'll come to the client here, and we'll say, go to command prompt, CMD. All right, so it brings us to this terminal. At this terminal, to find out what is the IP address of this server, the command is ipconfig. The IP address that we have assigned was actually accepted. Look at it, just like we assigned it. The IP address version 4 is that. Alpha version 6 and all the other ones, don't worry about them, at least not at this time. Just focus only on the IP address version 4, and of course the subnet mask. Subnet mask meaning, let me move the diagram through. Okay, so that is the IP. Now let us find out, is it communicating with the server? The way to do that is to say ping the server. What is the IP address of the server as assigned? 192.168.100.10. And if we press enter, it's pinging the server now. It's not communicating. Request timed out. It's not communicating. There is no link, no connection between these two. They are just bearing the same family name, but no blood relationship. No. It's not communicating. So let us troubleshoot. All right, there's something we forgot to do. So let's do it now. So I know why it's not communicating. Okay, now let's close this and go and do what we forgot to do. Now let us go to this machine. If we come to this machine, I will go to settings. We are going to see under network that the network type, the adapter type here is NAT. What am I? I should see more than that. Let me see. So let me go to the environment, and then let me take the server, and then I'll go to machine, I'll go to settings, I'll go to network. Why did it show me a little?
Maybe if you click on the bridged, it will give you other options.
Bridge?
Yeah, click bridge and then there.
No, I don't know what I want. I've had this issue before. How did I resolve this? And I didn't even put it in the note. Let's find out. So, and then this time, document it. So, go to client. Okay, so if I go to server, I go to settings, I go to have they changed invalid? Okay. Maybe they've changed the way these things work. Okay, maybe they changed. Let's try this one. And then we did that for server. Let's do it for the other two as well. So we go to setting, we go there, and then we'll go bridge. Let's go here. Go to network, bridge. Okay, so what result do we have now? Is that the new way of doing it? Because as of the time we had a note, it was a different setting. So let's try. And then after this, we can take a break once we're able to ping. What's that machine again? We're pinging from here. So let's go back to pinging, which we can find in command prompt. And then we can do ping 192.168.100. Okay, so that's a new way to do it. All right, so we just adapt. So things change. So basically, we change the what? The type of adapter from the default state. So we come to the machine that we want to change the adapter type for, and then we go to machine, or we'll go to settings, it's the same thing, and then we go to network. We change it from being NAT to the bridge adapter. But the last edit on the note, you had the option of network adapter 2. Check enable network adapter, double click to NAT. No, not that one. It's slightly different from what's in the okay. It's somewhere in the number, it's not specific. All right, so with that one, we have now, this is even easier now. They have improved on the software. All right, so we used to have like 4 different options, and then we take internal facing, but now it's no longer there. So we just change from NAT to this other one. So NAT means we are connecting the system to the external network, to the internet. But bridge means we can connect not necessarily only to the network within, but we are using the network interface card of our host to do the connection. But for you, the important thing now is that it doesn't work for one, it's working for the other one. All right, so that's the result you get from pinging. So pinging shows that this system is now able to communicate, it's able to see that other system. So now let's go to the server as well and see if the server is able to also see this client. So if we go to server, and then this is the server machine. So in the server, we'll go to command prompt. So we'll come here and say command prompt. All right, so this is the server. What's the IP address of the server? IP config, in case we forgot and we just wanted to find out. It tells us the IP address as assigned to the server. Now, to find out whether it is seeing the client, the command will be what? Ping 192.168.100.11. All right. And it's trying to ping that, and it's going to find out that it's not able to ping. Now, the only good reason we can imagine right now why it's not able to ping is that it gets to the door here, and then it says, I have message for you, please open, and then it finds that there is something around this server that is blocking this message from coming in. And that's something around the server will typically be firewall. So let us go and remove this firewall from here so that, at least for now, before we know how not to remove the entire firewall in future, this packet will be able to reach this machine and say, yes, I can communicate. So let us go to the client machine and remove firewalls. So let's quickly go to the client machine here. We have to mention server and client, so we'll go to the client. We may close this, and then here we search for firewall. So this is firewall. We'll click that, and then we'll see domain network. Firewall is on. Firewall is on. 3 firewalls on. All right. So let us remove the firewall so that at least this system is able to communicate with the other system. So to do that, we go to domain network and we turn firewall off. And then we'll go to private network and we'll turn firewall off. And then we'll go to private network, turn on, public, okay, public. Firewall is on, public, especially this one, turn it off. What was the first one that we did? Microsoft Defender firewall is using. No, we didn't need to turn that off. Or is it okay even if we turn it? So we'll have firewall is on, firewall. Did I turn them back on? Okay. So that one would automatically turn them all on and off. Okay, so I didn't mean to do that. So let's repeat this. So turn this off. Turn this domain firewall is off. Okay. This one is on. So turn this off. All right, firewall is off. And then public, turn this off. And then what? They are all off now. Firewall is off, firewall is off, firewall is off. Okay, so let's go back to the server and
But do we
say,
need to turn all of the firewall off?
in operations, no. But for now, this is the first time we're ever doing it. So I cannot teach you the complex way of turning off only the ports. So let's
Okay.
start the crude way. Yes. So at some advanced stage, when we get to cloud, I'll show you it is not okay to turn the entire firewall off. However, we can turn this particular port off or on, and then I can show you how to do that. All right. But for now, if we now say ping, what you couldn't ping before, it's not able to ping it because the firewall that was blocking it has now been removed. All right. So this one has completed the setup, the preparation for the client to be joined to the domain. All right. So with this one now, everything is ready. It's just for us to go join the client to the domain. The road for joining has been cleared, the networks, the IP addressing, the possible issues that can arise in the process, they have all been pre-resolved. All right. Let's take a quick break, come back, ask questions, make sure we understand everything we have done, and then finally we'll go ahead and join the computer to domain. And then just try to do 1 or 2 things like creating user account and stuff today, and then that will be it, and then we'll continue from there. All right, 15 minutes break, and then we'll come back. So I'll set my timer, 15 minutes timer, and that starts counting now. And then I'll see 15 minutes. All right, guys, are we back? Are you here yet?
Yes, I am.
Sir.
All right. All right, so
Yes.
finally, let us join the computer to domain now so that we can have domain and then we can start practicing. So we go to the client I want to join to domain. In this case, client 2 is showing there that's client 2. And then we go to this PC. So this is this PC. All right. Actually, I should have right-clicked this PC. Okay, can right-click from here. And now say properties, manage, pin to start, open a new window. Let me go to properties. And here I'll say rename this PC. I'll say change product key, advanced system settings, rename this PC. This is what I'm looking for. Rename this PC advanced. All right. The same place where I can change the name of my system and say, this name of my computer, I don't like it. So let me change it to TTC or the akin or something. All right. That same place, you see that just by giving the right IP address and by my ability to connect to the other system through pinging, I already had a work group, a network, technically speaking, a network, but not secure because I did not go through or I am not going through Active Directory. So when I have a network, it would either be a domain kind of network or a work group kind of network. The other one that somebody called peer-to-peer work group. That's what we call work group, all right? But this time, we want to upgrade from just ordinary non-secure network where we can ping and manually do things to making this computer, this machine, a member of domain. All right, so we'll go there and we'll join this computer to domain. The name of the domain we want to join into is the akin.local. All right, the akin.local. If we forget, we'll go to the server and then we'll find out the domain name of the server right here by going to input, insert, and then the akin 2024 hash. And then, of course, we are done with this on the server. We'll go back here, then we'll see that the name of the domain is the akin.local. All right, so we'll fetch the name of the domain here, there, copy, and then we'll paste here. That's how we got it. And that's it. And then we'll say, join this computer to the domain, the akin.local. All right. If we had not done everything correctly, at this point, it will throw error. All right, but because we already did everything well, we pinged, we assigned IP addresses, we opened the right port, we used the right network interface card, it's not giving us the opportunity to do that without any error. So who are we to do this? We are the administrator of the domain. And then what is our password? The akin 2024 hash. All right. So with that, it says welcome to the domain. You are now member of the domain. I'll say, okay. And then it says, for you to be able to do this completely, we need to restart the system. And I say, okay. All right. Restart my system. And by the time it restarts, it becomes born again. And then it's now a member of the domain. So rather than working here as a standalone, it will now give me access to be able to connect to the domain, access resources on the domain, and then we'll now have a proper domain. So when we create user account in the, I can try to go ahead and do that. So right here, whatever we do on the Active Directory now, we can now go and test from that client because the client is now part of the domain. All right. So for example, yeah, we'll still have plenty of time. Disclose me that you feel I'm too fast. All right, so if I come here to server and I go to tools, and I'm going to see all, well, at least some Active Directory related services here. Active Directory Administrative Center, Active Directory Domains and Trust, Active Directory Module, Active Directory this, Active Directory that. All right. So again, we're not going to do 7 months training on Microsoft certification on the system engineer. So we just want to learn enough to be able to do everyday administration. All right. So if we go to Active Directory users and computers, if we take that particular tool, then here the domain that we are talking about, that we are concerned about, that we want to manage, we want to administer is the itan.local. So if we come there and we go to users, we are going to see all of the built-in users, the default users that have been created by Windows Server itself on this system. All right. And then for us to create our own first user, so that this user in whose office we've just installed, or for whom we have just installed the client tool, we'll be able to use it from there. Let's quickly create a user.
Quick question.
All right.
How did you get to this Active Directory?
Okay. So I came to here. Do you remember how to get here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. All right. You are here. So I go to Tools and I take Active Directory Users and Computers.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. And then when I click Users, and then we'll say New User. I will say this new user, let's say trainee. New user trainee. And then I don't need last name. To log in will be username trainee at the itan.local. Next. And then the password, let the password be and then I say user must change password at next logon. And I say next, and I say finish. So I've created a user trainee. Is this really working? So if I go to my client now, and at the client, I say input, keyboard, control, delete. Now, instead of logging into manager, which is a good single system, I'm going to log in to the domain, not to this system. So to log into the domain, I'm going to say other user, and then I sign it to the itan. Can you see it here? Sign it to the itan, not to this local system as manager. Sign it to the itan. Remember, the name of the domain is the itan. All right? The itan.local in full, but the itan for sure. Who is this person signing in? Let me pretend it's somebody called Akin, for example, and the password is, so it's going to say, I do not know you. Your username password is not correct because you are not a user on the domain. An account has not been created for you. So this is security we're talking about, at least part of the security. All right. So without an account for you there, you are not. So, but we did create an account for trainee. And the password for trainee is here. All right. So it says user must change password at next logon. That's what it configures. So it gives me the opportunity now to change my password from whatever was initially assigned to me to my own password now. The itan 2024 hash. The itan 2024 hash. All right. So now I am logged in to the domain. Password has been changed. And now whatever, I'm now able to access resources within the domain. Whatever is shared on that network, I'm now able to gain access to the network. So we have successfully set up our domain, and we have created the first user that is able to log in. So whatever we create there, we'll test here to see that it's working before we cannot claim it in our resume that we're able to do it.
So did you create the user on the server and then logged in with those credentials on the client machine?
Yes. exactly what we did. All right. Let's do that one more time. Let's go to server again. So we'll go to server.
Did you have to restart the server for the
No,
changes? Okay.
no. So let's do it one more time. I think we'll just watch and see how it is done, so that by the time you watch the video, you'll be able to do it on your own, and then you see exactly what we did and how we did it. Okay, so we'll come back here again. You may have forgotten how to get here. So I go to Tools. I go to Active Directory, Users and Computers, and then I right-click User, and I say New. New what? Create a new user. And this time, let's say we are creating new user developer. All right, so last name, then the login name will be dev. All right, next, I enter a temporary password for dev. And then the temporary password. All right, so here I click user must change password at next logon. It's a good security practice so that nobody knows that password other than the user. But if I do not, like for some reason, if that is not the company policy, then I can say user cannot change password. All right. Of course, the two are against each other, so I have to take one. Or I can say this password never expires. So the policies that I'm going to set about password expiration, it should not affect this account. Or I can say, yes, even though I have created this account, it's temporarily disabled. This person is not able to log in to this domain from any of the 300 clients on this network. All right, so whatever I want, I can do here. All right, maybe this, whatever, okay? So I can do that, and I say next, and I say finish. Now we have created the user account dev, and I can now go back to one of my clients and then attempt to log in from the client as dev. So that's how to create user account. Okay, so from previous class, you guys already got to the point where you joined computer to domain, apparently, because Josephine already had that in place. Yeah, Ola, can you confirm that?
Yes.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. All right, so the person for whom that we actually completed this now, the person that really benefited is Sam. And I hope you got it, Sam, that how to join computer to domain.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, so in that case, we're all now on the same page. All right, let's continue to practice. Okay, so let's go back. My workplace is always the domain controller. This is for when I say my workplace, I mean as the administrator, as the domain administrator. So as for the client, it's just there for me to test what I do. Those will be the systems available across the office or the different offices that anybody can just come in to use. Or if you assume that you are working remotely, your own remote system from which you are working. Those also be the client. But as the network administrator, which you are, you'll be working mostly from the server. All right, so we'll go to the server, and then let me just show you around. So let's for user trainee, for example, I can go to trainee now. Can you see? So if I double click trainee, I can go to account, and I can set so many things on the account. For example, I can say login hours. It's come to the notice of management that people come to work on Sundays, pretending to be working, and meanwhile they are just on internet route. They are just connecting. So I'm just going to say, when you come to work on Sundays, no access, whether you come to work or you're remote. All right. So log on access to the domain denied. Okay. Even on Saturdays, there's no work, so you are not able to. This specifically to training and not to everybody, right? Log on access denied. And even during work days, if you come to work, once it's past 6 o'clock, you are no longer able to connect to the domain. So we can control. This is called access control. Can control the access that this particular user trainee has to the network. What's today? Today is Sunday, so we're going to be logging him off on Sunday. We don't really want that. So, but if it was something we wanted, or that would. All right. And then we can also say log on to, from all computers, you're able to log in onto the user can log on to all computers. And then we can say, no, 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 no. You are not able to log on to everything. Out of the 700 computers on this network, a domain can typically have up to 10,000, even maybe even more, but ideally like 10,000 computers will be like a domain up to that. It doesn't mean that's 5 computers is not a domain or 300 computers is not a domain, but we cannot have millions of computers on a domain, typically like 10,000. Anyway, of all of the 700 computers on our domain, we can say, you know what, you can only log on to computer 7 and computer 2. So we put those ones here, and then because we'll search for them amongst the 700, we'll pick them and say these are the ones you can connect to. All right. And then we can come here and say user must change password at next logon. We can say user cannot change password. We can say password never expires. In fact, we can say this course ends at the end of the month. Therefore, this account should expire at the end of this month. So we'll come here and we'll take that, or the end of next month. So we say April, end of April will be that day. And then we'll say apply. Okay. So at the end, the last month of April, the user trainee is no longer able to connect to this account because the user account would have expired as set there. All right, cancel, double click trainee, go back to account, and then we can say account is disabled. He has not made payment, or for some reason, maybe he had been relieved of this role. Can say account is disabled. So as soon as it steps out of this office, it's no longer able to connect. All right. Can also say smart card is required for security account is, and so on and so forth. Those are too advanced for us. All right. And then, yeah, that's typically what I want to show you here. These other ones are not necessary, or some of them are too advanced, out of scope. All right. So that is how we can do account. When we get into cloud, I'll be able to show you how you can make yeah, we can actually show you here. It doesn't have to wait a while. Okay, so that's that. We can also create group. So we can come here and say create built-in users. These are the built-in users. The administrator we're using now to log in, we did not create it. It was already built in. All right, so we just use that. And then if we look for administrator here, we see built-in. All right, and so many other kinds of users that are able to operate servers. All right, these are privileged users. All right, so if I wanted to add trainee, so that trainee, even though he's working with his username and password, once he logs in, he's able to perform administrative tasks, all administrative tasks. So I'll go to trainees, trainee as a user, I'll say member of, and then I'll add member of administrator. So add me, I'll just check names for administrator will come up because that is admin, and I'll say okay. So what have I done? I have made the user trainee a member of the built-in group administrators. All right, so apart from being a domain user, he's now also an administrator. So if I apply that and I say, okay, once the user trainee logs in from any system, he's able to perform administrative tasks. In fact, he's now also able to log into the domain controller, which no user is normally able to log into. Only the administrator can. But because we've given him the administrative privileges, he's now also able to log in as using his username and password without necessarily knowing the administrator's username and password. Using his own credentials, he's now able to log in.
How did you do that? My apologies. How did you add him to the trainee to the group?
Trainees, member of, the
Add.
administrator. I search for administrator, and I say search for any, and then it brings up administrator is the word that starts with ADM. I say, yes, exactly, that's what I'm looking for. Now, add him by saying, okay. So that's how I got it.
Gotcha.
All right, so that's that. What else do I want to show you here? All of the computers that make up this network, this domain, this domain, they are listed here, right? In this case, we have only one. If we had 3, 7, 32, all the 32 computers that make up this domain will be there, all right? What about the domain controllers? How many domain controllers do we have here? They are listed here. Just one domain controller. The ideal thing is to have one domain controller. But sometimes you may have more than one domain controller where one is active and the other one is passive. Just as for redundancy, in case the active one goes down, then the passive one can come up and you can continue your work without losing anything. So one will be, it's called redundancy. Layman will call it backup, but it's actually redundancy, so that one is acting as passive for the active, and so on and so forth. But all of that is just for information purpose. The real thing we're interested in here is how to create and manage user accounts. So we just created 2 users, and to see if they are working, go use the user credentials generated here to log in from the client. All right.
What was the naming convention when you logged in using the client with the new user created?
So
Was it trainee?
you need to really focus here and then practice later, please. But I'll show you this again. So for the client, let's log out whoever is logged in now so that I can show you what you are looking for. So to come here, I'll go, how do I log out this guy now? I'll go to, we'll shut down here, right there. And I'll say trainee is logged in. So I'll say sign out, this person that is logged in. All right, so your question was, how did I log in here? To log in here, I go to keyboard, Control or Delete. And then this one was showing something there. So I'll go to Other User. So click Other User here. And then here, once you are seeing Other User, you can now enter the name of the user that wants to log in. In this case, trainee. And then the password for trainee is DI 2024 March. All right, so this was what I did here. And then press that. And now I'm signed in as trainee. So remember to click Other User. Otherwise, you'll be logging into the local system manager and not to the domain. So to be able to log into the domain, click Other User. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right, I think we've done enough practice for one day. Yeah, we can continue actually. I wanted to show you. I have one more machine. I wanted somebody to see if they can use that one to practice to learn how to join Doamin. Yeah, we can do that. For Sam. Sam, we have one more machine here, client 2. Can you help us add this machine to join this machine to Doamin? Oh, which one is running? Okay, it's client 1. Let me turn on client 1, if you can see, Sam. And then you join this computer to Doamin for me, this machine. So I click client 1 and I start it. And then I want you to just run me through this test. In fact, implement it, not just in theory, of how to join this computer to Doamin. All right, so what's the first thing that I do? It's Sam there.
So first of all, you want to ensure there's network connectivity and make sure you can ping the domain, the domain controller.
All right, so yeah. So what's the first thing I do practically now on this? Okay, so just go ahead. Tell me what to do now.
Well, you have to go ahead and log into that client.
And then do what?
And then you're going to go to the, I think, start menu. And
You don't need to give me the procedure. Just tell me what you need me to do. Okay, somebody can help if you understand the question I'm asking. What's the item 2024? The item 2024. All right, security questions. So I'm still setting up the system. That's a good thing. So now we have done this many times. You cannot see, you don't know how to do this. And then the third question, any question is okay. Whatever question is TTC. All right. Okay. Accept that. Accept that. Yes. While we are waiting for the screen to come up, without giving me the step-by-step procedure, just tell me what I should do now in order to join this computer to do. Anybody, any of, doesn't have to be said.
Okay. Yeah, when the system is ready, we just have to go assign IP address.
Correct. That's what I wanted to
Okay.
hear. Assign IP address. All right, good. How I go about doing that is up to me. So you have told me what I need to do. Assign IP address. Correct. Thank you. All right, so let's quickly. Okay, so it's still taking time. What should be the second thing to do after that then? Why this one is still coming? After assign IP address, would that be all? Should I go ahead and attempt to join Doamin? Yes, the question is back to class. I got the first part, which was correct. What's the second?
Is to ping if they are communicating.
They will not communicate.
Oh, that means we have to change the NAT to.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I mean, you are coping well. Did you already know these things? Or?
No, you did it. That's why I said ping, but you said no. So I thought, okay, we have to
Okay.
go open do you call it firewall then? Yeah, so that they can communicate.
No, the one you said earlier, which is changing the nick from NAT to bridge.
Yeah.
All right, beautiful. All right, so let's quickly implement what we have said now. You said assign an IP address. To do that would be Ethernet. Don't try to memorize how to get here. That's why I didn't take the answer from. Don't try and tell me. Just tell me what to do. I know how to get there. Change adapter settings option. Yes, so right here, right click, properties, and then that, properties, and then this. Like somebody said earlier on, we've assigned 10, 11, maybe this should be 12. So 192.100.168.100.12. And then that is done. I don't really need anything else. And then that is done. All right, so we know from experience that we're not ready. So we go to machine settings, network, and then we change from that to, oh, okay, somehow we already did this earlier. Okay, that's fine. All right, so we've completed those two. And then from
I'm not
experience
sure,
again,
but I think you did not include the IP address of the server on the.
you think it's only the same class of IP address? Is that what you mean? You've seen the IP address as assigned. I assigned now. It's not in the same class as the server IP address.
Yes, I know. But what I'm saying is, yeah, for you to communicate, I think you have to put, put the IP address of the server.
Oh, okay, you mean the DNS and no, that's not really required for you to communicate.
Oh, okay.
Here, right? The DNS.
Yes.
No, it's not
Yes.
required. So this one is for in case you are trying to connect to another computer by its name and you don't know the IP address, the DNS server will resolve that for you. And the IP address of the DNS server is then this. So it's a different task entirely, not really required, but it's okay. 168.100.
11.
10.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, 10.
yeah. So you know what this means now, right? That anytime we need
That's the
DNS
server.
service, yes. Anytime you need DNS service and you don't, we already explained the place of DNS service and what it does. So
Yes.
when we need that, this is the server to go to. This is the machine to go to resolve that. This is happening in the background. All right. That's just what that means. But it's not really a requirement. All right. Beautiful. But it's good observation. And then, all right. We already know by default that clients are covered, protected with a firewall. So let's remove that for now, since we are still children in this game until we mature enough to know how not to remove them. And then we just turn that off. And then go back one step. That one is turned off. Turn this one off as well. Go back one step. And then that one is turned off and then turn off the final. And then go back. All right. Everything looks perfect to me. But you may still want to ping just to be sure. But for me, if I was alone, I'll just go ahead and join it without pinging because it looks good. But actually, let me go ahead and just try. Because the ping is just to make sure that everything is fine. Okay, let's fulfill righteousness. Let's just ping. So it will be CMD. And then I say, first of all, did you accept the IP address that I gave to you? It will be ipconfig. Yes, it accepted that. I can see that. So now ping the server. Ping 192.168.100.10. That is going through. So what about from the server? I come here and say server, adios, and I say control delete, and I say the iTime 2024 hash, and I say you also ping the client. So I say command prompt, and I say ping 192.168.100.12. Was it 12 we said? Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so everything is good. So finally, having confirmed that, we'll now go and join the client to do. So we'll come to client, and then we say join. To join, we'll go to this PC, we'll right-click this PC, we'll say properties. And then we'll look around for change what? What I will change? Rename this PC advanced settings. All right. And then we'll say change. And then we'll say right now it's in work group by default. And then we'll say make this system a member of the domain, the itan.local. And that's it. All right. So that's we successfully completed that. Now you can write that in your resume that you're able to do this. So this will be administrator, and then the password is the itan 2024 hash. All right. And then we'll restart the system. Okay. So we've added 2 computers to the domain, but in your resume, you are going to claim that you added up to just the same thing you did for these 2. You can repeat it for 300, 700 computers. So don't limit yourself to just. Okay, so what's the next thing I want to show you now? I don't want to do too much of. All right, so we talked about pinging. We did that successfully. And then if we wanted, okay, let's do this. And then we'll come to keep this on for another day. So right now, let's see if the changes. Let's go to one of the systems. Let's go to client 2, for example. And then let's I think they solved that problem with this. So there's no longer that need, but let's try. So yeah, I want to log to as training to the itan 2024. Did I change the password? The itan 2024. Your account is configured to prevent you from using this PC. Oh, okay. Oh, we're trying. Let's quickly go on. So you will report this one to the administrator, and the administrator will just go to their system and check. The account has been disabled. So let's go as the administrator and find out why. So I have a user on the phone with me telling me there's a problem, or maybe through email. The name of the user is trainee. So I go to trainees, trainee, and I find out account. What's the problem? Let's find what's the problem. Nothing is checked there. Okay, let's see login hour. For trainee. There's no problem here. So why did I just confirm? Member of principal administrator. So what did I do here that is preventing the account? Let's look around. Unlock account. I didn't log the account. Okay, unlock.
What about somewhere that says end of Wednesday, April? Is that the reason? No.
No, April is still ahead, so it's not.
Okay.
So
right.
here I'm saying unlock account. Okay, maybe it was locked somewhere. So I've clicked unlock account now. So if I say apply, and I say okay, so the account is unlocked now if it was locked. So let's go back to was it client 2? Oh, whatever. I don't even remember which system. So yeah, it's training. So let's log back in the itan 2024. Right. Now we'll have to find out why I'm not able to training the itan 2024. Okay. So the problem passes. Let's go and find out what we did. Is that much impossible?
Can we change the account expires to never? I know it doesn't affect anything, even though it's April 30th.
Yeah, we could, but in terms of security sense, we don't want to do that it's not the best solution. Let's look for the best solution. Let's find out what the problem is. So administrator, built-in, local user, submit, enter. Who is trying to enter?
Training.
No, somebody's trying to join us. Is it part?
Oh, maybe Sam, because he's off.
Oh, it's off. Okay. All right. So account, login hours, login to. Oh, okay. Could it be here? Login to all computers. Okay, maybe that's the place. And for login hours is no. Okay, so let's try another. Now that we did find something. So if we go back to client 2 now, I will attempt to log in and the time 2024 hash. All right, so that was it. It was that login to computer that was the problem. Anyway, it's good that we observed that and we found that it's part of the practice. Now it shows that whatever we click there is actually working. It's not, we're not just clicking for fun. It's working. It's good practice. Okay, so what was the original thing we're trying to do before we encounter that issue we just resolved? Yes, I'll try to see if I can browse from that system. Okay. So let me go back to the system. Oh. Well, we resolved. I thought we resolved that. Client 2. Okay. You know what? Let's try from client 1. We prevented him from using that system. What's our client 1? Client 1. All right. So log in, not as manager, but from here as a trainee. Then the akin 2024 hash. We'll have to find out what the problem is. Why is training not able to log in? I need to find out what this issue is. I'm not just going to. So I come back to users. I go to training. And then I say add to group, disable account, reset password, delete, rename, properties. Is that must change password? That's what I end of 2025. Oh, no, okay. The problem. Okay, this one did not work. So remove. Okay. All right. So okay now. All right. So that one just worked now. So there is nothing preventing him from logging in from any account. Okay. So that worked now. So let's come back here and now try again from any system actually. We'll try from here the time 2024 hash. Should be able to log in. Did you click that is preventing this? We must have clicked something. I must find out what I clicked. So bear with me. So for trainee user account. Okay. For now, let's log in as dev. Let's see whether it's affecting everybody or it's just training. So go to dev. Let's go and let's go log in here. Control delete. Control or delete. And then I'll log in other user as dev. And then password will be so it looks like dev is able to log in.
It's kind of slow. I'm not sure this is gonna work in as well.
It looks like it's not working. So it's not just affecting training, it's affecting the entire domain. Okay, this one worked. The user password must be changed. So this one worked.
Okay.
So the time 2024 hash, the time 2024. Okay, password have been changed. Now log me. Now let me quickly find out if I can browse. And then finally we'll go and troubleshoot and find out what we clicked that disrupted before I can be finding out now. Dev worked. What about training? There's something that is not making it work. Also, so what we're going to do is disable account, add to a group, reset password, move, this code, rename. Member of administrators. That is the environment. Disconnect from session. When is session? General. Okay, so let's see accounts. Let's try never, like somebody suggested. Okay, so we change that for training. For the time being, let me quickly check for who's logged in here. Dev. Okay. Is Dev able to browse using Microsoft Edge? No, it's not able to browse. Okay, so I'm going to show you what Dev needs to do in order for browser to work here. That's what I wanted to. Click here to search. Okay, so for browser to work, I'll come back and show you. But what I'm really more interested in here is let's go and see if we're able to log in now. So from a different client, somebody else is going to log in. That's the topic. And this person this time will be training. So training, I'm able to log in from here. Training, then what? Training, then the time 2024. Your account is configured to prevent you from using this PC. Okay, maybe it's from this PC then. So what happened from this PC? What did I do on this PC to prevent you from? How do I sign into the mail? How will I prevent? Let's see. Go back there and go to training. and say account, log on to the following computer. I've removed that now. Why does this keep coming up? This is the problem. All computers. Okay. I think I was not clicking apply. I was just clicking only OK. So this time I need to click apply and OK. All right. So if I repeat that now and I go to account and I see log on to. All computers is working now. All computers. That's what I wanted to see. All right. So it should be working. I'm sure that's the place we'll configure. So if we come back here
Yes,
now.
and again, it's showing never for the password. Yeah.
Actually, I don't want that to. I want that never to work. So let's
Yeah, I was ready for you to do it, and if you should
and
go
then come
through.
back here and then come back here. Okay. Yeah, we could actually do that. But because I'm already sure by myself that this is not the problem,
Okay. No,
I'll
no, no,
just
no. Uh,
end of April 2025. Yeah. So I'm sure that's not the problem otherwise. So I'm sure
okay.
the problem was where we just saw earlier. But let's test. So if we go to client 2 now, or maybe from here, client 1, these systems are in different offices or they are being accessed from different home networks. In this case, it will be trainee. And then password is the iTime 2024. We should be able to log in now. All right, so that was the problem.
Okay.
We're not, I've just seen, okay, without actually applying and
Applying.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. But the good thing is now you see that these things are working in reality. And the last thing I wanted to show you, 59, is what do we do for this guy to be able to browse? So for this machine to be able to browse, this client 2, we are going to attach is okay, first of all, are we able to browse? Let's do so it doesn't look like we're able to browse. Yeah, not connected. Now, to solve this problem of we want to be able to browse, even though we're able to do all of this within the network. So we're going to shut down client 2. So let's quickly shut down client 2 to make it able to browse. And the way to do that is come here and say power off. And in the cold state, while the machine is shut down, we'll go to our virtualization environment, and then we'll go to client 2, and then we'll go to machine, and then we'll go to settings, and here we are going to go to network, and then we are going to, this is adapter 1, we are going to add one more adapter, enable network adapter setting. Why do we add one more adapter? Let's change how this things look. Let's change the adapter 1. Where's adapter 2 and the rest? Okay. I'll have to find out how. Expert. Okay, that was basic. This is expert. Okay. Look at the things I was looking for. They are here. It's on the expert. Okay, let me put this one. This is a new development. So we're looking at just the basic. Now there is the expert blade where all of these things are available. You get it? It's a new development. So I need to emphasize this.
And it's supposed to be internal network, right?
Yes. Yes. If we're following this old method on the note, which they changed, and I'm just seeing that change for the first time, it's supposed to be internal network from here. All right. So let me put this in the note and say
Okay, do you want to
page.
put it in the note? Okay.
Yes, Control V. And then I'm going to emphasize here that the place to look for now, the place where you find all of this is here. A different color should have been. Maybe that's to be Control Z. Let's do something different. Is that better? Not showing enough. Control Z. All right, so okay, so I'm going to take this now. And then Control C. Where's the best place in the note for this? It would be install VM. Yeah, after we install VM. After we install a whole virtual bus. This will be the best place. Control V. Okay, so let's paste there. All right. Let's set or add network adapters. The new layout. Okay, so that's important until we get used to it. So for that reason, I'm going to color it. All right, Control S. Okay, so now that we found a way to do it, so I'm just going to go back there for our network environment. And then here, I'm just going to say, add another network, add a different network adapter. And this one, in fact, the first one should be the, somebody asked internal network. And then the second one should be NAT. So this way we can both do internal and the cable is connected. Look at the cable. The cable we always imagined was connecting the port to the switch. So this way, we now have two network interface cards, one facing our domain. We're able to do all things relating to domain. And one facing the internet, and we're now able to browse. We should now be able to browse the internet. All right. So if we say OK, and now we start the system again one more time. So if we start, all things being equal, because of the enablement of NAT, we should now be able to browse. Last time we tried, we were not able to browse. Let's quickly test that, and once that works, then we are good for the day. Somebody's still not here. Sam is here online. Okay, we are complete. All right, so let's just test this and then we know we are done with that. So who is logging in? Training, right? Let's log in as, or dev. Anybody can log in. So let's do dev. Dev the akin 2024 hash. Oh, I'm not typing. Okay. Let's do training there. Training the oh, I'm sorry. Wrong password. It didn't let me type in it. The all right. And finally, are we able to browse now? And that is what this part of the note is saying, that how to connect to the internet. All right. We just did that. And then we talked about internal network. I don't mind repeating that diagram here again. Just to Control C. And then how to connect to that will be under here. Control V. Yes. Okay. So Control S. So what about what we're doing? Are we there now? All right. So close this. And then we say we want to browse. This is the same system that we. I think that was the wrong system. Which system did we configure this on? Let's check. Machine settings. Network. It's on this system. Adapter 1, adapter 2. So this is the system we should use. Adapter 2 has that. Yeah, this is the system. So let's try browsing on this. So confirm what? Make sure Microsoft Experience. We don't want any of it. Just give us our browser. So Google.com. Go to browser. All right. So even if we're not able to browse, no problem. We'll continue from here. But we did everything right by putting that there. So why are we not able to browse? Okay, let's continue the troubleshooting from there. And then we'll find out why we're not able to browse and make that browse, and then we'll continue to create we'll continue with network administration. We'll continue to learn how to, today we'll learn how to create user accounts and how to sign in. There are so many other tools, especially around domain policy management, that we are going to learn in the next class. And then once we are done with that, we'll move on to other things. All right, guys, you've already spent taking 12 minutes of your time. I'll leave it here and then we'll continue from here. Any last minute question that we answer before we go? All right, there are no questions. That'll be all for today. That'll be all for today. So I'll share the note. If you don't have the note, that's why the WhatsApp group is there. Please remind me that you don't have the note, and then I'll share it with you. And then if you also have issues trying to install something and it's not going through, don't speak too much English. Just take a screenshot and say, I'm stranded here. What do I do? Show us a screenshot and be able to support you. Control S, that'll be all for today. Thank you for your time. We'll see you on Friday, right?
Oop.
Yes.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Nice.
Bye. Good night.
Good night. Yeah. All right.